All right. All right. Thanks, guys, for coming. Today, we're going to be talking about follow-up and nurturing like a pro. Lots of great information already in the Google Drive for that topic, but I did recreate it last night, and all of this stuff has been uploaded into a folder in the Drive that I think I labeled follow-up and nurture like a pro. So everything that we've got today is already in the Drive, so you guys can go back later and take it out, print it, or whatever you want to do there. So I'm going to be doing a share screen, guys. So on Zoom, please just unmute yourself if you have questions, because I probably won't see the chat. Just as a little side note. All right. So those of you on Zoom, can you see my share screen? Just give me a thumbs up. Anybody?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. One time, I think a year ago, I was doing a share screen and I was talking, and finally somebody unmuted themselves and said, I don't know what's happening, but we can't hear you and we don't see the share screen. So I think it was like 30 minutes into the class. So now I feel like I have to always ask. All right. So let's get started, and we're going to go over this, and I'm going to have questions. And so like, I really want to hear what input you guys have, challenges you have with nurturing and follow up, or any question about what we're going to talk about today. Please just dive right in and ask any questions or give us any ideas of things that you're doing to follow up and nurture. So, we have so many different ways of nurturing our clients. We have a 36 touch campaign that you can follow, and you can create that yourself. You're not necessarily required in any way to follow what the plan says. If you want to do a 36 touch and 5 of them are something that's not on here, make it whatever you want. This is really just meant to be a guide for you. However, if you are someone who likes to follow things step by step, this is already a proven plan that so many agents in so many places use. There's even teams that I think have like a 59 step touch campaign. And the 36 touch or a 59 or whatever that looks like, that means in a calendar 12 months. So it's not 36 touches today, it's over the course of a year. And, once you start building your database, that year can start at January 1. When you have people that you're adding in, like today, for example, that 12 months is probably going to start right now. You're not going to make them wait till the first of the year to start that touch campaign, right? Let me ask you this. Who are we following up with and nurturing that's different than who we're lead generating? Or let me ask it like this. What's the difference between lead generation and follow up and nurture?
Wasn't lead generating for new people, but following up is like, well, I guess if you pass.
No, you're on the right track.
What if you don't have past clients? So
well, nurturing and following up is two things. And you can nurture and follow up with the past client. You can nurture and follow up with your SOI.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? So there's a lot of different categories or tags that you can have for the people that you want to nurture and or follow up with over the course of time to get their business in the future or their referrals. Really, that's what's important to know about nurturing and follow up. Follow up for someone who I'm currently working with that's a buyer or a seller looks a little bit different too, and we're going to dive into that as well. How do I nurture and follow up with a potential seller that I went on an appointment but they're not ready to list, or a buyer that I've been working with and we just haven't been able to find them a house, or that says, because this will possibly happen, I've been looking all summer and I'm getting really discouraged and we've written 25 offers and I haven't gotten one yet. I'm just going to take a break through the holidays and reach back out to me in February and we'll get started again in the spring. You still have to follow up and nurture that person, because I promise you will forget them. It's very easy to you start on to the next thing and then not remember them. So that's why we have to keep them in our database, keep them tagged, create tasks for yourself and that kind of thing. So we're going to talk a little bit today about why follow-up matters and some different information to know about that. And we talk about this in our command class that we did on Monday. that how many times does it take for you to reach out to someone before they respond? And it says right here that 80% of sales happen after the 5th contact. So it's not, I tried twice and then they didn't answer. It's 80% after the 5th. And then it goes on from there too. We've got some fun graphs on here to show you what that funnel looks like as well. So having a great follow-up system in place, you're going to make life way harder if you're just trying to do it on the fly. If you already build your business and your system and your plan, you already are actively learning how to use your database, whether it be Command or something else, and the work gets done now, and then it makes it easy later. So if you spend some time now on smart plans and how do I want to drip on these people? Maybe I want to get a calendar out for the whole 12-month period and say on here, for everybody that I work with that's in this category of people, let's say past clients, I want to do this in January, February, March, and so on. Putting together that plan, no different than what do I want to post on social media every week, every month. Don't just recreate it each moment because you're thinking about it. Put together a business plan, remembering that as a real estate agent, you are the owner of your own business, which is you. And as a business, would you not have a plan? Like, do you think a restaurant didn't plan their menu long time ago before they printed it? You're not just walking in and there's words on a chalkboard of what's, what they're making today. It's a whole business plan. I don't know why I always use the reference of restaurants. I guess food's always on my mind. I don't know. Anyway, and then we roll into, we're going to talk about the 36 touch campaign, which is pretty simple. I'm going to zoom in a little bit and go over that real quick here. So here it talks about the category, the frequency, and an example. So I plugged this right in there from a 36 touch specific class that we do. So 12 emails a year. So for the year, but it's frequency is per month. So you've got one per month, and that could be something like a newsletter. That could be a market snapshot. It could be home tips. It could be anything that you want to be a consistent email to go out to your database. And honestly, in my opinion, I would create something there that can go to any category. That's going to make life way more simple. You don't need to create a campaign for 12 months in a smart plan that looks different for this group from this group. So like any past client would want a market snapshot. Why not? They want to know what's happening around them, even though they just bought their house. There's no reason to assume that they aren't going to be a seller in the future. That's an easy one. Everybody wants tips on, doing different things around their house or whatever fun things you want to put in a newsletter. There's no reason to think that that has to be something that you're creating 25 examples of. And my recommendation to you is this: keep the template. Don't keep remaking the newsletter template. Keep one for January that you're going to use again next January. And you're just going to update it so that you don't have to keep making your job harder. Same goes for social media posts. Plan out the year. Next year, go back to it and use it again. Maybe you want to spruce it up next time, that kind of thing. Don't make life harder than it needs to be. For direct mails, so that's quarterly. Example are the magnet calendars that I know that we just got an email about from Ashley. Holiday cards, I probably mentioned this. I do Thanksgiving cards, not because I don't do Christmas, but because nobody does Thanksgiving cards. Everybody gets Christmas cards. No one gets Thanksgiving cards. I can't tell you how many thank yous I get from people for getting a Thanksgiving card because they're like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for thinking of me. How many texts have you gotten from somebody saying, thanks for sending me a Christmas card? It's non-existent. If for some reason I'm in a busy year, which is probably going to be this year, and I don't get to the Thanksgiving card, I will do a Happy New Year card instead of a Christmas. Not that I don't send Christmas cards out. I do that too to family and friends. But when I'm talking about my database, I'm going to either probably do a Thanksgiving or a, first of the year thing. Heck, you can make it be a 4th of July card if you want. So it says 4 times a year. So what else am I going to be mailing to them? I have to think about that. It could be a postcard, that says something about spring's coming. A lot of different fun things that you can be doing for mailings go. We have specific classes on each of these topics. Social media, you should be friends with them. You should be liking, commenting, and more importantly, DMing them on things. Something as simple as, oh my gosh, your vacation looked so fun. Where was that? What hotel did you stay in? That kind of a thing. 4 calls a year. And that's just a personal check-in. That could be a happy birthday. That could be an anniversary to when they bought or sold their house, or any number of things. We're going to dive into the Ford script here in a little bit, which gives you some guidance on what those calls could look like. 2 text messages, and you can flip that too. If you want to do 4 texts and 2 calls, again, you guys can customize this however you want. 1 pop by a year. Some examples could be a mum in the fall, or a pumpkin with the mum in, I've done this before, where you take little pumpkins and carve them out and stick a little mum right inside of it, different kinds of things like that. And then an invite. So you might be thinking, invite to what? If you're not doing events on your own, that's okay. We do here. So invite people to that. So we do the Easter egg hunt every April, May, or whenever Easter is, that year. Seems to change. And invite them to that. You don't have to create your own event. You can invite them to the things that KW Legacy does. We occasionally, I say occasionally because I feel like we've canceled the past 2. We've done trunk or treat, but it was pouring down rain the one year, so we canceled it. And I don't know if they're doing it again this year. I haven't heard about it, so I'm assuming not. Alicia, would you close that door for me? No,
Your car isn't working.
because you have the wrong keys.
There's different sets of keys.
That's my car. The loaner is not those keys. But thank you. We're being recorded. Then other things could be invite just to meet for coffee. Right? So like, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Let's meet for coffee. You never know when those, meetings could lead to something such as a referral. Building up your CRM like a pro, like we just talked about. Having tags in there so you know what group of people they are. SOI is someone that you know. It can be anybody in your phone. It could be neighbors. It could be friends of a group of people that you know. It could be family members of friends of yours. All of those people spread very wide to be your SOI. Maybe you are someone who goes to a big church, and that might be people that are in your SOI, or you play sports, or your kids play sports, or whatever that looks like. Those are all circles of people that need to be in your CRM getting valuable information from you. And that's where you're dripping on them with emails, calls, texts, or whatever. And again, you get to decide which group and who I'm doing what for, right? It's also super important to track this. Tracking what you're doing. I can tell you, maybe it might have not been last year, the year before, we had an agent out of our Worcester office who said, I sold twice as many houses this year as I did last year. And it was like a team meeting or something. And then the topic was, how did you do it? How did you, as a relatively new person, actually sell twice as many houses your second year than your first year? And I don't mean that he had been licensed, but from last year to this year, when you're relatively new in the business. And this is what he said. I tracked everything I did, whether it was how many open houses did I hold? How many phone calls did I make each week? How many pop buys did I do? How many face-to-face coffee meetings? Everything that he did, he put on some type of a tracker spreadsheet, which, by the way, I have created for you guys in the Google Drive. So you don't have to recreate the wheel for trackers go. There's also a ton of different kinds of trackers in the Locker Room University that you guys have access to as well. Nonetheless, he said it was simple math. I sold 25 houses last year, and this year I sold 50, because what I did was I looked at my tracker and I multiplied it by 2. So everything I did last year, I did twice as much of that same thing this year, and it's just a numbers game. Then you're going to sell twice as many houses. If I do 30 open houses and now I do 60, we're going to see twice as many results. Even if you did 30 open houses and you only sold 2 houses, that's actually good numbers. That means if I do 60, I'm going to be able to sell 4. Typically, it works out. If you ask anybody who tracks their business in a very strong, organized way, they will tell you that they've always doubled their business if they've doubled their activities. Equally so, if they decided this is a year I can't work as much, so I'm going to do half as much. Guess what happens? They get half as many closings. So it's just, like I said, that kind of system becomes a numbers game. Questions about any of that? In the Google Drive. Yeah. Under the follow-up like a pro tab, I put a folder in there. Does anyone know what the 5 to 25 model is with the locker room? So what it means is, and there's actually a whole challenge that's in there too. Jake does a great class on that on one of the Tuesdays. 5 meaningful real estate conversations a day equals 25 closings a year. So keep this in mind when you're making your calls. Some people like to make calls for an hour. Some people like to make calls for 2 hours. Some people like to say, I'm going to make 15 calls today or make 50 calls today. Honestly, in my opinion, I think it's way more important to calculate your calls based on meaningful conversations. So what's constituted as a meaningful conversation? We talked a little bit about real estate. We talked about, hey, Brittany, I just thought about you because I was driving through your neighborhood and I was showing a house down the street from you and it made me think of you. That's talking about real estate, guys. It doesn't have to be, hey, Brittany, I know I sold you your house 8 years ago. Are you thinking about selling again anytime soon? It doesn't have to be that. It can just simply be, I was hosting an open house around the corner. And like, it doesn't have to be true. You know what I mean? Just find a way to interject real estate in there. Or here's a great one, which Ford talks about in that script. How's your job going? And then what do people do? How's your job going? And that's how you can interject real estate into the conversation. So I really think it's way more important to have 5 meaningful conversations about real estate every day than it is to make 20 phone calls that not anybody answered the phone and now I'm done. You want to be results driven. Scripts, you hear us talk about all the time, follow-up scripts and systems are super, super important. Here's a couple of just what I just did here. Couple of different examples of scripts that you could use, just a quick sentence about something that you can call somebody about. Practicing that. We do have a call night coming up, I think next week on
It's on the same day that we're going to.
well, I moved it, so I didn't realize that. So I was like, oh no, we're gonna be out at the Tom Ferry thing all day. So I had Ashley move it to the Tuesday before.
Is that on the?
14th.
You just, like,
Well, she didn't update the actual calendar because it's been printed already, so it doesn't really matter there. What matters is she sent out an email saying we're changing it to Tuesday.
so
So,
Tuesday's team meeting.
yep,
So is it before?
it's at night.
Oh, it's at night.
Yep, 5 to 7. Yep. All right. So nurturing, your nurture campaigns are super important that convert business. So you need to have a call to action on it. It doesn't do any good to create materials that don't work. I can give you an example. So I use Command primarily for recruiting. And so every time I come in contact with someone who's thinking about a current real estate, somebody that's in real estate school, Andy can say, I'm sure I had you on a smart plan. And so then you're in there, I'm getting you're getting text, what looks like from me, you're getting emails. I can tell you for certain, my first set of smart plans that I had follow up did not get me the same results as the set that I'm using right now. I, threw a smart plan together. It was okay. It was just okay. Now the smart plan that I'm using that I beefed up with the help of Amanda, I get constant results. I can always tell when a new big batch went out in an email to a bunch of people because I'll get a bunch of responses because there's a call to action in there. So like one of the things, for example, is, hey, do you want a free copy of Gary Keller's Millionaire Real Estate Agent? Reach out to me and I'll get you a copy. It's a PDF. I'm not mailing out books, but I get 25 people saying, yes, please send me a copy. I know at that point, oh, that was that email in that timeline of Smart Plan, because now I got all these responses. It doesn't even matter that their response isn't, I finished classes and I'm ready to learn about KW. All that matters is that I'm being top of mind. And it gives me a reason to follow up with them. So same thing for you. It doesn't matter that they say they're ready to buy or sell. What matters is they're engaging with you because you sent them something of value and a hook to get them to respond. So you have to ask a question. So it's really important to not only have smart plans and different campaigns, but to have good ones. Start from scratch, it might not be perfect, but then you're going to revise it as you go. Lots of great information in here as you guys go back through to read on different tips about stuff as well. As I mentioned before, tracking. If you're tracking, you can always make it better. Know what you're doing, know what's on your tracker, and then it grows from there. I recently was tracking a group of people and I only maybe had 4 different tabs, but as I started adding people, I realized, oh, I also want to know this. Oh, I also want to know that. And then now I have I think 15 tabs across the top of questions that I have answers for the people that are in that tracker. So one of them was, do I have their name, email address, phone number, and home address? Where did I meet them? That's a tab. I realized that might be important when I'm following up. Where did I meet these people? How do I know them? Were they a family friend or were they just somebody who came to my website? Also, am I friends with them on Facebook? Did they join my Facebook group that I sent them a invite to? So as you can see, those were things I added later. I created a Facebook group. Did they accept my request? Then I go back through and I audit that list and then update it. It also gives me a chance to scan the list, basically like a pipeline, and say, oh, I haven't done something with this person in a while. Maybe I should reach out. So then there's a big long line for different notes. And one of the other things that I have on there is the date that I added them to the pipeline, and then the last date I spoke with them. Super important to know. And listen, I know it might seem like, oh, I can remember that. It's my neighbor. I know when I talked to them last. But when you start having 500, 600, 700 people in your database and more, I promise you're not going to remember. It's super important to know when you last spoke with them. Or even, did I mail them a Thanksgiving card? Check. Those are the kinds of things that I'm tracking because it makes it real easy at the end of the year to see what did I do and do I want to do twice as much this year with that person or with more people to be able to get different results. Role playing, obviously we do this a lot in particular. So maybe think of call night next week, or I believe I changed the name of it. I don't remember what I decided to go on instead of calling it call night. We're going to be doing scripting. That's a great place to come in and find someone to become a scripting partner with. If you've ever done Bold, in Bold, you have to do scripting every single day with your partner. And so my partner and I called each other, one of us were calling each other at 8 o'clock every morning. Let's do this for 15 minutes. You go, I go, talk to you tomorrow. It's as simple as that. And you can definitely see if you decide on a particular script, let's just work on this script this week. And now we've perfected it. Let's work on something different next week. It doesn't have to be something different every single day because you're going to run out of stuff potentially. You need to be doing that same script over and over and over again until you feel comfortable that you can change it up and make it feel more like you. People say they don't like scripting because they think it sounds scripted. Only if you haven't been practicing. Keeping that in mind. All right, so let's talk about the funnel. So I always love a diagram of the funnel because this is what you're looking at as okay, how many calls, texts, and DMs, how many open houses, events, and all the different things that you're doing to put people into the top of the funnel. The top of the funnel is wide. As you can see, it starts to pump out people at the bottom. So you've got this whole big group of people, and then it starts to narrow, and out the bottom is where you're going to see your referrals and your sales. So always be looking at your business that way. Follow-up matters because obviously we know that, and again, we already talked about this stat, that 80% of sales happen after the 5th to 12th contact. And then I know you guys can read, but you can see the different averages here as they increase. 2% only after the first contact. And that could be somebody in your database. That doesn't necessarily only mean an internet lead. How many of you guys text people that don't respond. I know, because I always send text messages to you all inviting you to class, and it's amazing to me after 45 text messages that only 10 people ever reply. So for sure, when you're doing that, you're laughing back there. Are you an offender?
I think I did skip a couple of accidents.
That's funny. You all know who you are. I'm sure everyone's thinking, this sounds like a text that she sent to everyone all at one time. I promise I personalize them with your name so that you know that it's not. And so same thing with your database, or new leads. It could be internet leads too that you're following up with. But you can see however many times you reach out increases your odds to being able to have somebody, respond to you. Here talks about some different percentages and different things that you want to do to follow up. The do not call, and obviously we always want to check the do not call list when you're following up with random people. The purpose of my call, it feels way more uncomfortable to reach out to someone, whether it be by text or by phone, if you don't know what you're going to say. So having that planned, and there's some examples in here of what you can do with that as well.
Where it says, like, under the phone part, it says send short, authentic video text, and then it says 112% more engagement.
Yeah.
I mean, like, where you're like talking to them in a video.
So it is. And so thank you for, so it does to me too, but I will tell you the impact. So 2 weeks ago now, maybe my birthday, I got just like that says, I got somebody who sent me a video text message. So she videoed herself saying happy birthday and thank you for blah, 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 whatever what I've helped her with this year. I was so shocked that I opened up a text and somebody's face came on and I hit play, and they were actually, for just 10 seconds, maybe 20 seconds, saying, hey, I just wanted to take a second and say happy birthday to you and thank you so much for all the things you've done to help me this year, blah, blah, blah. That had way more of an impact than all of the people that sent me a text or went on Facebook to say happy birthday. Then I was asked not to ever show or have someone listen to what Chris Lynch sent me, but he sent me an audio text. So it wasn't a video one, it was an audio one. And he's hysterical. Just wait till you have a birthday and you know him. He's singing in his text message to me. He's so funny. And so he goes on and on and on and on and on in his voice text. And again, I'm talking about those two examples and I don't remember the rest. So make sense?
Yeah.
It becomes a little bit of a core memory then when someone actually,
Something out of the ordinary.
exactly. And it just,
With Facebook, it's like everybody on Facebook wishes people happy birthday because it pops up on their feed.
yes, of course. But you know what though? 35 people took an opportunity to direct message me as well. So not just Facebook happy birthdays, DMs, that's taking Facebook to the next level too, to direct message someone. So if that makes sense. Initial follow-up, and it says speed to lead matters. So we know this when that's an internet lead, right? So if you're getting realtor.com leads or Opcity leads or Zillow leads or whatever kind of internet leads you might be getting, or just leads from your own website, if you don't respond quickly or answer right away, your chances decrease each minute and hour that goes by. In particular with that group of people. That's not necessarily the same as if a past client's calling you and you don't call them back for 2 hours. It's a little bit different. We're talking about internet leads. That is a speed to lead. But here is the 3x3x3 rule, which is 3 calls, 3 texts, and 3 voicemails. That is the system. That's the cadence for that type of follow-up for internet leads before you say, maybe I need to abandon ship and just put them in a long-term nurture. I loved this too that I found online. Follow-up cadence, timeline. For someone's timeline that's 30 days, you should be following up with them every 3 days. So someone that you meet at open house, someone that's an internet lead or a friend or a family member or wherever this business came from, if they say, I'd like to buy or sell in the next 30 days, you need to be talking to them every 3 days. 60 days, every 5 days, 90 days, every 7 days, 120 days, every 10 days. That's the follow-up cadence that's recommended. And again, here is the 36 touch system kind of broken down again on a different format. Here's some just fun different tips on here. that I threw on this page for you guys to go back and look at later with different types of follow-up ideas for social media, mailings, emails, that kind of thing. Questions about any of that before I move on? I feel like I'm going fast. All right. Here's just a little bit of tips on different things, and I just rattled off a few as well. Different things that you could put on your follow-up tracker. Also having goals. So at the bottom of my tracker, I have my year-to-date sales, my year-to-date volume, how many of those were buyers, how many of those were sellers. It's a great way to track where your business is coming from there. If you guys are following along and track on the locker room right now, I think we're on like what, week 4, maybe week 4 or 5. I can't remember. The very first week though is the agent action plan, which lucky for us, Jake came and taught our group individually, which was recorded if you missed it. And in that agent action plan series, it does break down your numbers and it splits it out to how much business do I want to be on the listing side? How much business do I want to be on the buyer side? And how can I focus on that? And where I'm more heavy. And then the reality comes in after your first year, how much business of mine was on the buyer side and how much business of mine was on the seller side. And do I want it to stay the same or do I want to shift that at all? So being able to track those kinds of things. If you haven't done the agent action plan series, go into the locker room and pull that out. There's a great form that we use. We call it the CGI calculator through KW, but it breaks down your expenses. It breaks down your commission, what you should set aside for taxes and how you're running your business like a business and how to be able to track those numbers in the locker room university. Ford, as I mentioned earlier. So here's what the Ford script stands for. Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. So when you're thinking, oh my gosh, I have to call people 4 times a year that are in my database, what the heck am I going to say? The Ford script is an easy fallback thing. How is the family doing? Saw on social media that you got a new puppy. Make sure that you're following everybody that's in your database on social media. It's not weird. It's not weird to friend request people that you know. It's not weird to friend request people that you just sold a house to. I mean, I try to friend request everybody that joins KW. But I wish everyone would use their real name on social media. And I don't mean an alias. I mean, like, not everybody knows someone's maiden name when they use it on Facebook. So it is actually hard to find people sometimes. I had my maiden name hyphenated just on Facebook for a while. And then I ended up dropping it because really the people in my world don't know me by my maiden name anymore after 25 years. So, but definitely be searching for people that you already have in your database because you want them following your social media. We do an entire class on how to kick that algorithm and be able to have them be seeing your posts. But the easiest, quickest way for your friends on social media to see everything you post is to create a group and add them to it. And then when you post on your page and on your feed and you share it to your group, they're going to see it. I know all of you that are in the legacy private group for our office. I'm certain that there's at least one birthday every single day of the year in this company which doesn't make sense because there's only 289 people is my last count and there's 365 days in the year, but I promise there's multiple birthdays every single day. Because whenever I log on Facebook in the morning, the first thing I see is a birthday that was posted here from Legacy. And that's because I'm in that group. I didn't have to go to the group to see it. It shows up in my feed. So what a better way to have your people see what you're doing on social media is to get them in that group and make sure that you're sharing. And trust me, I'm not a big techie person and I created the group all by myself and it was not that hard. It was not at all. So,
Like, what do you, like, for groups, if it's not. Like, yeah, obviously, like, for realtors and like people in the business, but if it's like your database, what's the theme of the group?
So I have like 4 different themes of different groups.
Mhm.
I'm obviously part of Legacy's group. I have a KW Success Builders group that I created for productivity coaches around the country that I only invited productivity coaches to. I have the Northeast Ohio, what did I call it? Agent something.
Success.
Yeah, agent success. So in that group, I only invite real estate agents or people in the industry, lenders, title companies, home inspectors, people that sell windows, people that do different things like that. That group I'm driving traffic to for people to post about different things that they're doing that could help agents. So maybe I want to know about a guy who cleans gutters because I have a client who asked that question. That's what that group is. And then I have a group that I use for potential buyers and sellers and past clients. I can't remember what I called it, but I only invite people that are in my database to it. And then do keep this in mind if we're going to talk about groups. You need to be 8 posts deep before you invite your first person. If you invite somebody to a Facebook group that has no posts, they aren't coming. They're not going to join. They'll think it's a scam. You need to have at least 8 posts so that when they scroll a couple times, they see that there are posts there. So figure out your content of what you want to be and then create the post. I know it feels weird. It feels weird to post something to nobody, but who cares? It's only you. And so you just create it, you post, at least 8, and then you start inviting guests, whatever category you're inviting from, to that group. And then they start to like it, and then you start to see engagement. Another thing that I do is I have joined groups for different things that I could potentially be in that group to respond to. So I'm in a group that's like Stark County something. And then I go to that group all the time and I look to see what are people talking about? What questions do they have? If someone says, hey, where's the best place to have breakfast? I'm always going to come up with something to respond because it creates engagement. That's a new person I can add to my group that I wasn't friends with before. So go ahead and be in groups as well. Like in one of the Keller Williams Facebook groups I'm in that are just leadership people, someone will go in there and say, hey, does anybody have one of these? I'd like to teach a class on that. Even if I don't, I say I do. And then again, I get myself in one of these late night situations where now I'm going on Canva, I'm creating something for somebody else because I said I had one. But who cares? It was engagement. Now they think of me as a resource for information. That does turn into money. I promise it does. So that's why we'd be a resource. So like, hey, here's the schedule of who's doing trick or treat and what time, what neighborhoods in my community are doing trick or treat and what time. Hey guys, this is where the tree lighting ceremonies are in our community at this day and time. That has nothing to do with real estate, but that is you as a resource. Hey, I'm going to go on Endy's page. She invited me to, because I know she's always putting in when July 4th fireworks are and where.
Doesn't have to be about real estate.
It shouldn't be.
Well,
It shouldn't
yours
be.
are, right? Like your group.
In my Keller Williams PC group, it's not about my dog. It's
Yeah.
about that because that's a specific thing. In my Facebook group that I market to for buyers, sellers, SOI, past clients, people like that, it's 80% personal and information and 20% business.
Okay.
You're just dripping the business. The general public doesn't want to see the same thing over and over again. They don't care how many open houses you're doing. Eventually it does work though, like, oh, hey, she must be busy because she's doing an awful lot of open houses, but you've got to fill in the personal too. I mean, let's face it, people have a ton of followers because they just have a picture of themselves drinking damn coffee every morning with maybe like a different pair of slippers or something goofy like that. Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I'm not the person who follows people because I want to see what people that are humans are doing that we all do that's human. Mowing the grass. Okay, we all do it. It's okay. It's not postable, but apparently it is. I mean, we're in a reality world. People watch reality shows.
Yeah, for posting that kind of stuff.
It's craziness. So like you just figure out what works for you. Walking around the community, I know we've talked about that before, is a great way to show that I'm an expert in Jackson Township. I'm walking around the community here. This new business just opened. Or, hey, I just heard Fisher's is being tore down. Wonder what's going there. Heard Cheesecake Factory might go in Bravo. They've been saying that for years. No, I'm just saying, yeah. See? Exactly. We've been hearing it for years. At this point, I don't even know that I like Cheesecake Factory anymore. So like it should have came a decade ago and now it's kind of like wah, just another chain. So who knows? But those are the kind of fun things that gets conversations going.
Like that.
Yeah. So you can create that group.
Yeah.
And again, the role playing and challenges are here listed for you guys to do. That 5 to 25 challenge is spelled out there. So let's talk about why agents avoid follow-up. I thought that might be a good topic to add here at the end a little bit, because I know that couple things. Why do teams hire ISA? ISA is an inside sales associate. Why are there companies like Cyberbacker that is a inside sales associate company that does it, among other things, you can hire a outside salesperson, not inside, an outside salesperson to work for you. We used to, I don't know, it's been about 4 years ago now. We used to work with Cyberbacker, and Cyberbacker followed up with our Boomtown leads when we were doing Boomtown leads in the coaching. And the Cyberbacker I think he lived in Thailand, maybe. And so he made all the follow-up calls. He put everybody in a smart plan. He was following up with the drip campaigns as people were engaging, and he was scheduling appointments for the agents. So, but he was also $1,800 a month, of which I'm not sure how much he actually got from Cyberbacker, but nonetheless, that's what an ISA is. And so teams have, on-site ISAs, a lot of big teams have multiple people. There's a reason that people will spend that kind of money or hire that service, is because their agents aren't doing it. That's why. Companies or teams that have ISAs have way more sales, and I don't know what the exact percentages are, but it's not because of the leads that they're giving the agents. It's because of the ISA. Internet leads are internet leads. Doesn't matter where it's coming from. They're all internet leads. If you're not getting internet leads to turn, it's because you're not a good ISA. And if you can't afford one, you need to be one. You have two choices in this business. Either I'm going to follow up, or I'm going to pay somebody else to do it for me. And then what's that going to cost me? And can I afford it? Most agents cannot. So you're the inside sales associate. So stop making excuses. The one big excuse, and I talk about this a lot when I'm teaching the 6 personal perspectives, which is a great series that I'm sure I'll do again here soon, is fear of bothering people. That's an excuse, guys. Don't listen to yourself. When you say, oh my gosh, it's dinner time. Oh, everyone's at work in the morning. I can't call in the morning. Oh, I don't want to call on the weekend. It's their weekend. So then when? Those are just excuses. You're not bothering people. If you say the right thing. I'm only feeling bothered if I pick up my phone and someone says something that's not valuable to me. But I had a nice long conversation with somebody who was, I don't know if it's realtor.com. I can't remember, but they were trying to sell me leads. But he was so nice about the conversation that I actually stayed on the phone and had a little bit of a 1-minute conversation and still said, no, thank you. And most of the time I just hang up on people. So he was able to hook me with whatever he said to, I was just curious now. So I finished listening. If I ever should decide to do that, maybe I'd call him back. I don't know. A Jeep dealership that I bought my 2 Jeeps ago from, they consistently text me every quarter, seeing how much I liked my Jeep. Was I ready for a new one when the time came? Blah, blah, blah. I bought my 2nd Jeep from them. I would never have remembered I might remember where I bought it, but I would not have remembered the salesperson. But that was unusual to me, that sales girl kept following up and saying, hey, you've had your Jeep now for years. We've got this great new one. Want to come look at it? And I bought another one. So that's fear of bothering people. If I'm interested, I might click. If not, then I won't. So stop lying to yourself about that. Understanding here, it says right here, I'm not selling, I'm solving. Find out something that you're doing to service them or some problem that you're solving. Obviously, another big thing is fear of rejection. Did anyone ever read the book called The Gift of Fear by Gavin DeBecker? It's a fantastic book. I read it like 2 decades ago, I think, and I always remember it because I thought it was so strange that it was called The Gift of Fear. And so many examples I can give you on that, one of which is there's something about not touching a hot stove in our fear of getting burnt that stops us from doing it, right? So fear doesn't need to be a negative emotion. We feel nervous going on an appointment. That's fear. That's okay. That keeps us on our toes. If we weren't afraid, trust me, when I'm helping new agents, The ones that seem not nervous at all about their first appointment kind of freak me out a little bit because I'm thinking, oh boy, the fear is what helps you work harder. The fear is what makes you go on the appointment prepared. If I'm not afraid and I'm just loosey-goosey over here, I don't care, I'm probably not going to be as prepared for that appointment if I was afraid about getting the listing or having this buyer like me and want to work with me. Now I'm going to go better prepared. So don't be afraid of fear. And I also recommend reading the book because it really puts it into great perspective. But fear of rejection, all day in our life, there's things like that, right? If I'm stuck in traffic in this lane and I need to get in this lane, I mean, I'm the person who's going to just find my in and go, but I'm afraid they're not going to let me, or I'm afraid if I go out here too far, I'm going to get hit. I'm a little bit risky when I'm driving, so maybe don't use that as a good example, but nonetheless, all the different things that we do. When you're in school, you're afraid you're not going to get good grades, or you're afraid my friend isn't going to like me anymore, or that guy that I like doesn't like me back. I mean, we just live with it all the time. And in our job, in any business, you decided when you went to real estate school that you were going to own your own business and to get business. And the only way to get business is to lead generate and follow up. And so if you're afraid of following up with people or contacting people or even talking to people, then I'm not sure why you're in real estate. That's just the hard truth of it. Or why you're on the front end of real estate. Maybe you're somebody who should be on the back end of real estate. There are people that are really good at their job on the back end where they're doing admin work for somebody. Maybe that's where somebody might belong that's afraid to talk to people. I talk a lot, but I actually don't love talking to people all the time. I just feel the need to do so. There just come a point where I'm like empty and I don't want to talk to people anymore. But it's never because I'm afraid of being rejected. It's just part of life. Also, there's a book called Go for No. Why would it be called that? If I get 10 no's, go ahead, Felicia.
Oh, I was gonna say, people learn how to accept rejection.
And if I get 50 no's, my next call is probably going to be a yes. If I hit that goal, or if I have a bar that's really high and I only go halfway, that's still something. And so don't be afraid of the no's. Like everyone will tell you that there's never a time that everybody that comes in the open house wants to work with me. That's probably not happening. 10 people come in and 10 people aren't working with you. Bless you. Probably your odds are maybe one, maybe. So there's rejection all over the place, and that probably goes for most people's jobs. So don't let that catch you up in not doing your job. It says here, don't chase people, chase the connection. Let me also say something about connection. I was a communications major in college, and one of the things I always remembered from one of the classes was this: we connect with someone else when they are talking. Let me repeat that. We connect with someone else when they are talking. Let's imagine this. I'm on a blind date and I do all the talking, blah, 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 blah. The other person doesn't get a chance to say anything. I leave the date and go, oh my God, that was so amazing. I really liked him. I'm going to call him. The guy goes home and says, oh my God, that girl wouldn't shut up. I'm definitely not answering the phone if she calls me back. I was connecting because I was talking. Does that make sense? So same goes with your database and your clients. If you're just blabbering and doing all the talking, you're feeling like you're connecting with them. I have agents tell me all the time, I don't know what happened. My appointment went great. They really liked me, I thought, and now they're ghosting me. Well, that's because you connected. They didn't. So we need them to connect. And how do we do that? How do we get them to do most of the talking? Ask questions. So if we aren't asking questions, then we need to be reading a book about how to ask more questions. Sure, there is one. If you can think it, it exists. So asking questions, what kinds of questions? I was just helping someone prepare for a listing appointment. He's not going on it because it was an expired listing. It's because it's a friend of his grandparents that it expired after 100 and so many days. And so while I was helping him prepare for the appointment, I said all the different things to do, but I said, one of the big things you need to do is say, what do you think went right in your other listing? And what do you think went wrong? What were your expectations? What are your expectations this time around? Did you have any showings? How did they go? What kind of feedback did you get? Did you agree with it? Did you not agree with it? What was your interaction with your agent about that stuff? And what is your expectation of how we should change that moving forward? Those are all things that I'm sure a seller, this particular seller is going to look at him and say, huh, my agent never asked me any of that stuff, right? So we want to know what they think. What do you think? I always ask people when I'm preparing for a market analysis, tell me what you think the house is worth. Tell me what you want to get for it. Tell me why you want to get that. And tell me if you were a buyer in today's market, what would you pay for it? Also, when you're giving them the comparables, let's look at all these. Now, I'm not going to tell you what I think. I want to know what you think. So like this particular house is, I think it was listed for 1.59 and it should be more like 1.2 something. And so how are we going to have that conversation? And my answer to him in preparation for the appointment is self-discovery. You can't tell them that. Let them discover it. Show them the comparables, show them the photos, and say, tell me how you think yours compares, better or worse. And now let's look at the price of that sold property. How does that make you feel, knowing that yours is smaller, not in as nice of a neighborhood, and yet they got lower than what you're asking? Like, that's how people start to self-discover on those appointments. So learning how to have those conversations, by the way, that also comes from scripting. Lack of a system. So another reason why we don't follow up and contact people regularly or nurture our people is because we aren't setting them up in searches if they're buyers, because maybe they were someone that I showed one house to and they didn't get it. And now I got to set them up in a search. Don't not have a system about what to do next. Always know, and then that leads right into our, game plan for follow-up, 36 touch, or where they should be for that kind of thing. You don't know what to say. Sometimes I don't follow up, or I don't lead generate, or I don't nurture my people because I don't know what to send. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say in a text or what to say in a call. That's, again, we're learning those scripts. I mean, I probably have 3 or 4 folders in the Google Drive filled with scripts on probably anything that you can imagine. And heck, you can go on ChatGPT right now and say, give me 10 scripts for this thing. And which one do I like, pieces, parts it together, and find some different scripts to help you out there. Definitely don't come to call night without an idea of who you're calling and what you're going to be saying. It's not just a simple pick up the phone and start dialing. It makes it way easier if you have a system around it, you're tracking it, but also what is the script? Maybe you're using the forward script. Or maybe it's just hey, I'm getting ready for the holiday season or for the fall, and I was doing this, wonder what you were doing. It really should never just be, hey, just wanted to see how you were doing. Like, there needs to be way more to it than that. It says here, the real reason agents don't follow up isn't fear of rejection. It's fear of being judged. And an antidote for that is to have structure and self-belief. So if I'm a new agent and I've been on 6 listing appointments and I've gotten 5 of them to list with me, my confidence are probably pretty good. And so that makes me feel more comfortable. And then those fears start to dwindle away, right? And then of course we know this to be certain. I think I've even had a diagram that I drew on the whiteboard here before, but I'll give you this example. The doctor doesn't say an apple a day keeps the doctor away by saying if you eat 7 apples on Sunday. Understand that analogy. An apple a day, not 7 on Sunday. It's about consistency. Everything that we do is about consistency. I promise, even if you just do a tiny little bit of something, but you do it consistently, you're going to see way more results. Just think about going to the gym. If I work really hard for 3 hours, 1 day a week at the gym, am I really going to see results at all? No, probably not. I would be better off doing 30 minutes, 5 days a week than I would 3 hours, 1 day a week. So it's all about consistency. If you don't reach out to someone for a while, they might think, wow, I haven't heard from her for a while, but hey, it was so nice to hear from her. So that doesn't mean we cut them off because we dropped the ball. Get back in there. Last year, I sent Thanksgiving cards to my database that I had printed, this is before, this really ages me, back before we had like social media, and things like that. Like they were names on in a folder of, address labels. So that's how I was saving my database before we had a CRM, is their names and addresses were on a page of labels, because it was easier to print them out all at one time and then have a bunch of pages. So every time I mailed them something, all I had to do is tear off that label and pop it on the envelope rather than writing it. And so I found that file folder because I was moving last year and I was like, oh, all these people from how many years ago that I sold houses to that I completely forgot about because we didn't have a CRM back then. And I was just using this folder. Well, guess what? I mean, some of them I haven't sold a house was 15 years ago. I still sent them a Thanksgiving card with my business card. Now, I went on the auditor site to make sure they still live there. And guess what I found? Quite a few didn't. So that means those were sales I lost because I didn't continue to follow up with those people. Because last year and this year, I sold probably 5 or 6 houses to past clients that I sold them their house 10 years ago that came back around this year and last year that were buying and selling. So that's at least 6 transactions in the past 12 months. That was from a past client that I got 2 deals because I listed and then they bought something else because they were someone that I was following up with. All right. Questions. I'm going to do a stop share here. Thoughts, questions, going to do it, not going to do it. Anybody here on Zoom? All right, guys, thank you so much. This recording will land on legacygroupguide.com for anyone who wants to go back. And that whole PowerPoint is in the folder in the drive. Awesome. Thanks, guys.